Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life, that there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Follow me.
This isn't real.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
It's all about frequency compatibility, vibrational compatibility. If you are in a human body and you're vibrating to a certain frequency, and here someone wants to possess that body and it's vibrating to a very, very different frequency, it's very difficult to make that connection and therefore take over the mental and emotional faculties of that human body, if you like. If you can create a genetic hybrid, then that vibrational compatibility becomes very much closer and therefore very much more effective in terms of possession. So what has happened is that there's been this interbreeding which created these hybrid bloodlines, and this is the origin of the divine right to rule. The divine right to rule, what is that? It's the right to rule because of your bloodline, because of your DNA. So these hybrids became known, and they're known in history as the demigods, part human, part gods. So the gods were just other dimensional entities. And they became the kings, the queens, and the emperors of the ancient world, who claimed this right because of their special bloodline. Royal dictatorship started to be resisted by the people, and the royal dictatorship started to fall. What happened is these bloodlines moved out of overt royal dictatorship. They're still in there with the Windsors in Britain and the Spanish royal family and all these others. But they moved then into what I call the dark suit professions as they've become. They moved into politics, they moved into banking and business and all this stuff. They were in there anyway, but they moved in much more powerfully. So when you look at the transnational corporations and the major, most powerful and influential politicians and those that control the oil cartel and the drug cartel and all the rest of it, you're looking at this hybrid bloodline. In effect, it's a software program if you want to see the body as a computer, as I do. And you want to know who they are, because, you know, if you've got this bloodline, it's like a computer program, or a computer, in the sense that you've got files on your computer, but they don't affect the screen, the reality, unless you open the file. So you go through life and these files don't affect you. But there are certain ways that you can open these files and then bring that perception, that attitude, that behavior, that personality of that file onto the screen. In other words, in the way people behave in everyday life. And they do this through the secret society ritual. This is why they'll target someone. The person won't realize why they've been targeted. They might think that, they just think I'm good and they're supporting me and sponsoring me. Powerful people suddenly sponsor people to progress very quickly in law or politics or stuff, you know. People like Blair's a classic. And then as they progress through this sponsorship and support, they get pulled into the secret society network as all part of it, and then they go through the secret society initiation rituals, which often they have not a clue what they're about. They're just rituals, aren't they? Just It's just tradition. But what's happening is these rituals are designed to tease open these files, which they know they've got because they've got the bloodline, right? And then as these files open, so they have more and more effect on the personality, the screen of the person involved, and their personality changes. And you watch, and there's classic examples you can see around the world. You watch people who, for instance, come into politics with a certain, sometimes genuine desire to change things. And then eventually, as they progress into power, they become absolutely everything that they entered politics to challenge. And it's not always for this reason, but many times it is this reason, that as these genetic files have been opened more and more and more, suddenly it's affecting their personality, and they're now becoming a behavioral perception expression of this hybrid DNA. And they start to operate with that hybrid DNA in terms of their behavior and attitudes. DNA databases now allow a highly sophisticated way of finding out who's got the bloodline and who hasn't. Everybody is broadcasting, vibrating to a certain frequency. We're in the same frequency range, otherwise we couldn't see each other. But there's subtle differences between everybody. We always have our unique vibrational code. If you know what that code is, then if you want to target that person with vibrational interference on a physical, emotional, mental level, mind control, I'm talking about the latter one, then you can target them specifically on their unique frequency. Once you have the DNA, you can work out what that frequency is. So that's another reason why they want the DNA database. It's not for catching criminals. They're interested in catching criminals. Criminals for them are just other ways, at the highest level I'm talking about, are just other ways to justify more and more control, to protect the people from criminals. They don't want a society that without crime, without violence, without terrorism. It's the worst nightmare. How do you impose an Orwellian state on a society of harmony? You can't do it. You can only do it on a society that's divided and ruled and in fear of everything. That's why we have the society we do.
Watch U.S. television, fawning, Fox, CNN, CBS, all of them. Oh, it's so wonderful. No one in America can wait until next week, the way they're hyping it.
1 week until the royal wedding. This is exciting stuff. I mean, it's hard to, I mean, the energy is just palpable.
Young couples get married, they're just hoping that some bank will be nice enough to give them a mortgage.
Yeah.
These folks have a number of palaces to pick from.
NBC News is launching a free royal wedding app for the iPad.
This is truly a love story that captures everybody's attention.
This goes back to Edward Bernays 100 years ago, saying, look, to make politicians and royalty popular, we'll have Hollywood stars come to banquets and events with them. We'll have music stars. We'll have other people go there to basically make these elites be seen as celebrities themselves.
In the books of the Tibetan Kanchur. The Kanchur consists of over 1,000 volumes containing the holy text of Lamaism. The resulting translations are full of references to gods appearing in the sky, of the luminous pearls and transparent spheres in which they lived.
The search for humanity's first possible contact with alien beings in prehistoric times leads to an unlikely place. To the Bible's earliest chapters, to the book of Genesis.
There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Genesis 6:4.
While most English Bibles use the word giants, the original Hebrew word is Nephilim.
One translation of the word Nephilim is the men who came down, or those who came down. meaning those who came down from the sky. So it may not mean necessarily that they're physical giants. They could just be something like great heroes that came down from the sky and produced a hybrid race.
If you say that Jehovah is an ET, then that changes the basis of Judaism and Christianity in a very fundamental way.
For many ancient Christians, the Book of Enoch was essential, yet it was banned from the Christian Bible.
We don't know why this literature was ultimately excluded from the canon. Perhaps it's because of its description of the fall of the rebel angels and their mating with mortals. Perhaps its understanding of the end of time fell out of favor with Jews and Christians.
And as with the story in Genesis, God blames this evil on the sons of God, angels who lusted after the daughters of men.
These angels are sometimes referred to as watchers. They keep constant watch, and they decide one day, about 200 of them, that they're going to descend to the earth. They would like to very much make contact with these mortal women.
The Book of Enoch may have been an attempt to expand on the mysterious giants, the sons of God, and the daughters of the earth, spoken of in Genesis.
Anytime you read the book of Genesis, there are all kinds of unanswered questions. Suddenly, there is this quick few verses at the beginning of the flood story about giants in the land that come from the sons of God mixing with the daughters of the earth. And you stop and think, wait a minute, what's this all about? It's like it went by too fast. And you want to grab it and say, wait a minute, what was this?
And they began to go into them, and to defile themselves with them, and they taught them charms and enchantments. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose height was 3,000 ells. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind.
That these angels have crossed over this boundary that they shouldn't have when they decided to descend upon earth. This unleashed upon the earth all sorts of problems. Not only these giants who are bloodthirsty and violent, but also these angels went on to teach humankind a variety of forbidden crafts. They also taught human beings how to make weapons of war.
The Maya and Incas of South America believed a race of giants existed on Earth before the Great Flood. So did many other ancient civilizations. Some took them for gods, others left likenesses of them in stone or wrote about them in their histories. As long as 6,000 years ago, another